Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I am Jen Mitchell, owner and founder of Jen Mitchell Travel, and this is the last of our 2-month virtual travel series. And today we have with us Kensington Tours, and specifically we have a guest speaker who is a travel expert in Iceland, Jessica Brown. So she is going to be giving us a nice little overview of Iceland, which has been really popular the last few years, and we've seemed to get a lot of requests, both land and cruise with Iceland, and at least this will give you an idea of what you can expect to experience while you're in Iceland, and what kind of fun activities you can do, and ask questions. So if you are live, then yes, you can ask questions. You can either type them in the box, or you can go ahead and ask them at the end of the presentation. Otherwise, you can go ahead and email or call me if you're watching this recorded, and we'll get those questions answered for you. So with that, Jessica, I'll let you take it from here.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to start sharing my screen. So hello, everybody. Thank you, Jen, for that intro. As she said, I am Jessica Brown, and I'm a destination expert for Kensington Tours. So a little bit about me. I have been working for Kensington for about, 10 years now. And I just absolutely love connecting people with travel. So, why are you traveling? Making your dreams become a realization, and really just helping you create your own personal and specialized trip geared to what you're looking to do. And that's what we really focus on. The private touring aspect. You can create your dream vacation, tailor make it with a destination expert, and then of course have that support. There really is a story behind all trips, why you're going, and connecting you with that, I think, is really important. So, finding that why is just part of the fun in planning your adventure. Sometimes it's the most exciting part. So the beauty of Iceland is completely unprecedented. There really is no way to prepare yourself for what you'll experience when you get there. It's completely out of this world. What's really great is that it is a quick flight from the East Coast, so 5-6 hours or so into the main airport, which is called Keflavik. Now, the Icelandic language is a little difficult, so some of these words you'll see in this presentation will be something that you probably may never have heard before, or maybe you have. So that's part of the fun of traveling there. But when you get to Iceland, we do recommend a private driver, somebody who's able to take you to all of those hidden gems, and somebody who's really equipped to handle with the really quick, change of weather. Weather does change very quickly in Iceland, which I'll talk about. And one of the big questions we get is, should I have a rental car? Should I drive myself? And although it is possible, the roads are quite small. It's nothing like the 3, 4, 5, 6 lane freeways that we're used to. It's still, because of the ever-changing weather and how quickly the conditions can deteriorate, it's just not something we recommend. The Icelandics are very used to it. They grew up with it. So having yourself paired with a driver it just gives you the peace of mind that you're ready for anything. The ideal trip length is another question. Iceland is a very small country, so they have a population of about 330,000 people for the whole country, but they see about 2 million tourists a year on average. This year obviously is a little bit different, but on average, that's typically what they see. So, how long should you stay? Well, for a general trip to see kind of the major highlights, 7 days is okay. If you want to do the whole ring road, which is essentially the main road that goes all across the island, you would need a minimum of 10 days. So although the island's really small, the sites are quite far apart, and it takes a while to get to places because the roads are a lot smaller, and you're going to be wanting to do a lot of stops en route to your next destination. So there really is no best time to travel to Iceland. It really is dependent on what you're looking to do and to see. So as an example, if you're looking to do a very active trip, so hiking, biking, whitewater rafting, ATVing, then you would need to go in the summer months. And that is from about mid-April to mid-September. And some tours are even more into May to August. So June will see the midnight sun with it never fully setting. So that's kind of an experience in itself. But because the sun's out for so long, a lot of the tours you can do at any given point of the day. And then, of course, if you want to see the northern lights, that can only be done in the winter seasons when it gets dark. So we're looking at a mid-September to mid-April timeframe. Anything in between that, you're really not going to have any luck seeing. So there's no point in going to Iceland in the summer if your goal is the northern lights. One thing to be aware of, though, in the winter is just like how the sun is up for so long in the summer, it's the opposite in the winter. So come December and January, you're only going to see about 4 hours of daylight. The sun never fully rises in the sky. So what's going to happen is if you're touring in the winter, which is completely possible, I've done it and it's actually fantastic. You get some wonderful sunrises, sunsets, the sky looks like it's on fire, but it's going to compromise some visibility with some tours, meaning a lot of your tours will start and finish in the dark if they're full day tours. That being said, a lot of those tours that will have compromised visibility will be arranged in the best way possible for you to see as much as you can in that time frame. Okay, so my personal favorite things in Iceland are, it's hard to pick, but because it is such a small island, I find that they really pack such a punch with everything they offer. So your senses are all going to be fulfilled. As soon as you leave the airport, for anyone who's been, I'm sure you'll agree, you feel like you're transported into a completely different world. The landscapes are incredible. You've got the volcanic terrain, the mossy lava fields, there's mountains and glaciers. It's called the land of fire and ice, and it really makes sense once you're there. Iceland is also a destination where you can do as many activities as you like, or you can actually go the opposite and have as leisurely of a vacation as you like as well. So there's so many opportunities for everybody. I've done trips for people who, want to descend into a volcano and have as many thrill-seeking activities as possible. And on the flip end, I have also arranged tours for people who are completely bound by wheelchair and physically cannot do the activities, but we're still amazed and wowed at the opportunities that Iceland had. They're very, very accessible for most of the tours. The people themselves in Iceland are probably some of my favorite in the world. They're so kind, they're eager to show you their country, and they're always willing to share their myths and legends, which is my next point. The myths and legends in Iceland are very interesting, very unique. And, if you ever get a chance to meet a local, whether it be in a bar, walking down the street, just anywhere, start up a conversation with them and you'll see how it starts to turn into, the folklore of the country. And I'll tell you a really quick one, and it's one of my absolute favorites. The Icelandic culture has the 13 Yule lads. And the 13 Yule lads are essentially 13 sons of this woman named Grilla. And Grilla is a big troll that lives in Katla. And Katla is a huge volcano that's actually set to erupt any day. But they've been saying that for years. But what happens is in the 13 days leading up to Christmas, one of the Yule lads comes down to the cities and they actually will leave either a rotting potato or a treat in the shoe that a child has left in their bedroom window. And the rotting potato would be if they're naughty that day, and the treat would be if they have been good. So 13 days leading up to Christmas, a different Yule lad will visit, and it's kind of fun for the children. But then what happens on Christmas Day is Grilla, the mother, will come down from her volcano and actually snatch up any of the children who've been completely naughty that whole time and boil them in her cauldron, which is a little grim. It's not something I share with children, but it's a part of their culture, and it's a part of their storytelling and what a lot of them do believe. If anyone has had the opportunity to watch the movie on Netflix called Eurovision with Rachel McAdams and Will Ferrell, it's fairly recent, but they show Rachel McAdams talking to a lot of the elves and kind of really embracing that folklore that Iceland has. So it is quite interesting, and not all of them are lovely, wonderful stories, but part of the culture nonetheless. And then, of course, the Northern Lights. Probably a top for everybody. What other place can you go to where you have, volcanoes and glaciers and Northern Lights, and you can go inside glaciers and blue lagoons. It really, there's really something for everybody. So believe it or not, Iceland has a fantastic food scene. There are so many great restaurants popping up, all around Reykjavik, which is the main city in Iceland, the capital. And it's really easy to find something that you like. They do also have some vegetarian and vegan options, although it's not as common outside of the city. Outside of the city is really going to be, just the basic kind of burgers, fish, seafood. But in terms of vegan, it does get a bit more difficult. That being said, if you do get to go to Iceland, which I hope you do, there are some things I highly recommend that you try. Some seem a little bit general, but I'll explain them. So the rye bread in Iceland is really, really interesting. If you have watched Down to Earth with Zac Efron, the Iceland episode, they actually show this, which is interesting. But the rye bread there is baked in the ground. So Iceland uses geothermal energy, and what that means is there's so much heat in the ground from the volcanic activity, and they're able to. It's so hot that they're able to actually have the bread dough in a pot in the ground, bake it for 24 hours, and then bring it up the next day, and it's completely cooked. And it's actually absolutely fantastic. And you can have it with salmon and eggs, and there's so many toppings that you can have, but that is definitely one of the things you need to try there. The ice cream, which you think that when you go to Italy, you have the gelato, but the Icelandics love ice cream. They eat it all year round, which seems strange considering, again, 4 hours of daylight. It's very cold in the winter, but they do really love their ice cream, and they have all sorts. They even have black licorice, which is another treat that they're really well known for. This next one is perhaps not as tasty as ice cream or rye bread, but it is the fermented shark. So fermented shark is something that the locals used to survive generations ago through the winters. It's something that they don't really enjoy that much anymore. In fact, you're not really going to see the youth of Iceland eating fermented shark, but it's going to be on a lot of the menus in the more authentic Icelandic restaurants. So it is something that's a part of their culture. A lot of the older generation will still eat it, but it is something that, I do recommend giving it a try, because when in Iceland, why not? My first experience with fermented shark was 2 years ago, and I was pregnant with my first child. And with the fermented shark, they actually wash it down with a shot of Brennivín. And Brennivín is a schnapps that the Icelandics have, and it's loosely translated to the Black Death. So, I mean, as you can imagine, it doesn't taste very good. Being pregnant, I couldn't have the Brennivín, so I had the fermented shark, which was not really the tastiest, and then washed it down with just a soda. My husband, on the other hand, had the Brennivín. Of course, he had to try it. And when I looked at him after he took the shot, he said, you know, I don't know what's worse, the shark or the Brennivín. So, you know, it's just, again, when in Iceland, why not? But the last thing, which, you know, sometimes I guess we could take advantage of, but truly when you're in Iceland and you have their water, you really taste the difference. So the water comes straight from the glaciers. It's so pure, it's so refreshing, it's absolutely delicious. And you know, you go to hotels and you turn on the tap water and you don't always know if you can drink it. What I will say in Iceland is never ever buy water there. There's no point. Right from the tap, completely pure, the best water, and free. I mean, you can't beat that, especially in Iceland when things can be a little bit pricier. But speaking about buying water, if and when you go to Iceland, bring along, as a little tip, your own reusable water bottle. Because if you happen to be on a tour and you are on a glacier or you're near a glacier, you can literally take your water bottle and just fill it up right from the glacier right off. And you know, you're having fresh water literally straight from a glacier, which is, I think, pretty unique. But when you are in Iceland, you do need to prepare yourself to spend about $30 to $50 per person for your meals. So lunches and dinners, breakfasts are typically included with hotels, but for lunches and dinners, depending on what you're getting, if you're getting alcohol, of course, that'll increase the price, but that's the typical range that I tell people to prepare to spend. The one thing that I think is really important to tell people when they go to Iceland is the weather can change really quickly. So I mentioned this a little bit at the beginning with the rental cars, and I'm going to talk about the weather a little bit really quickly, which seems, again, very general, but in Iceland, it really can affect a lot. Icelanders also love talking about the weather because it is really something that affects their day-to-day, especially in the winter. So you'll need to prepare yourself for 4 seasons in a day. Even in the summer, especially if you're in the north, you will want to make sure that you're prepared for it to be cold, sunny, even snowing, not as likely in the summer, but can still happen, and of course raining. I picked this picture to show you because I'm going to explain it, but it really depicts how quickly the weather can change. So a few minutes before this picture was taken, the sky was completely clear. It was sunny. It was beautiful. I actually should have posted a before picture as well. But all of a sudden, the clouds rolled in and the sea got very rough. Now, what's kind of interesting about this picture is this was taken by someone who I didn't know. And I happened to be, this was my very, very first trip to Iceland, so it was quite a while ago, but I happened to be on a tour bus all by myself. And so I had given this girl my camera and said, can you take a picture? And she had my camera, my cell phone camera. I had my SLR hanging. I kind of see I'm holding it. And the ground was completely dry. There was nothing, I wasn't standing in water, there was nothing there. Then all of a sudden she started running and I didn't know why. She didn't say anything to me. And next thing you know, this sneaker wave comes out of nowhere and wipes me out. I was soaking wet. I was 2.5 hours from my hotel. My SLR camera was ruined. I've long gone now. I lost all my pictures, but I wanted to tell you that story because it really is an accurate depiction of how quickly things can change. So it is something to really, really be aware of. Kind of laugh about it now, but at the time I wasn't very happy. But the Icelandics have a fantastic saying, and they really, really live by this. And that saying is "Þetta redust." And "Þetta redust" means it will all be okay. kind of like a Hakuna Matata. So that phrase here you see written down, that little P symbol, that is pronounced TH. So theta redust. Okay, going to Iceland, what should you see? So there's, some major highlights. So if you're going for the very, very first time and you want to make sure you hit up the major hotspots, then what I recommend, the Golden Circle. Absolutely. The Golden Circle is composed of 3 different sites. So you have Gullfoss, which is a stunning waterfall. You have the geyser, which is essentially a geyser, I guess, that erupts every few minutes from the ground. And Thingvellir National Park, which is the site of their first parliament. And this can all be done in a day, in about 8 hours or so. You can extend it if you like, but definitely some of the iconic sites. The Blue Lagoon is another iconic site, and they're actually opening a new lagoon next year called the Sky Lagoon, which is in Reykjavik, will be in Reykjavik. But the Blue Lagoon is perfectly done on the day of arrival because it's so close to the airport. So because it's so close to the airport and you typically arrive in Iceland very, very early in the morning, your hotel will not be ready for the majority of the day until mid-afternoon. So spending the first 4 hours relaxing at the Blue Lagoon is just perfect. Now, the South Shore can be done either from Reykjavik in about 10 hours, or if you're based in the south itself, which there's some great hotels there, you can do that in 8 hours. But there you're going to find the black sand beaches. I think there's an iconic one near the town of Vik, and 2 major waterfalls called Slandafoss and Selfoss. And if you'll notice a trend, the waterfalls all end in foss, so F-O-S-S. And so if you're looking at Icelandic books or, watching shows, if something ends in foss, then you know it's a waterfall. The Into the Glacier tour or any kind of glacier activities are really popular. You can go hiking on them, you can go snowmobiling, they're all year round. This is a bit more of a higher activity level. So perfect for those who do want to kind of get their heart going a little bit. But the Into the Glacier tour is something for everybody. And then the Snæfellsnes Peninsula, which is 2.5 hours from Reykjavik. So personally, I wouldn't recommend it from Reykjavik. You can do it, but it's going to be about a 12-hour day, so very, very long. And if you're doing it in the winter, a lot of that's in the dark. But you can base yourself there. It's absolutely mind-blowing, wild, out of this world landscapes, fishing villages, more black sand beaches, very, very quintessential. It was also the inspiration for Journey into the Center of the Earth. I think that's the movie name, but based in a lot of movies. So unique experiences in Iceland. Now, if you're looking for something more off the beaten path, kind of more gems, so to speak, or hidden gems, then, this is just a very short snapshot of what you can do, because there really is quite a lot. But, some of my personal favorites, sea kayaking Siglafjörður. Siglafjörður is a town in the north, about 25 miles from the Arctic Circle, and they sit on a fjord, so it's right on the water. It's a fishing town. They were known for their herring a while ago, but now it's just really based on tourism. There's really not a lot of tourism there because it's so far in the north that many people don't go. So it's a beautiful, beautiful little town. And again, even if you don't want to see kayak, going to this town is quite beautiful. I actually think that is where the movie Eurovision is based. So if you've seen that, again, you'll see scenes from this town. Biking in the mountains. So Iceland has mountains, and outside of hiking them, you can bike them. You can gear it toward different levels. They have extreme biking. I biked when I was pregnant there, so really something for everybody. Half day, full day, you name it. You'd be paired with a local guide, someone who knows the trails really well. Perhaps this is something you may have heard of, but snorkeling between the tectonic plates. So this is at a site called Silfra. So this is some of the clearest water in the world. It is absolutely beautiful. It's so clear, cold. So you're going to be set up with a dry suit, but you know, this is something that is, again, somebody looking for something a little bit more active, and you tend to do it from Reykjavik. And this is actually a place where you are not allowed to touch the tectonic plates. You're not allowed to touch them at all. So it's really just for the experience of swimming through them. And then again, to reiterate the rye bread. So you can go to Lagervat, and which is essentially I guess you could say it's almost like a spa, but they have hot springs there. They have the cold water tubs. It's a place that's very relaxing, actually. But on top of the hot springs that they have there and the spa atmosphere, they also do the baking experience. So you get to go and dig up the pot to pull out the rye bread. You can put one in. You can watch them as they do this and get a real sense as to how it's done. And then of course, like the best thing, which would be tasting it afterward. And then probably the last thing that I have here, but again, this is just a quick snapshot, is descending into an active volcano. So again, something a little bit more active, but you know, incredible. You do need to be able to walk or hike about 60 minutes. And it is going to be over lava fields. So that's part of the tour in itself, of course. But there is a minimum age requirement of 12 years. And a lot of the active tours actually do have a minimum age requirement. Typically 10 years old are the age requirements, but 12 can be quite popular as well for the glacier hikes and whatnot. Snowmobiling, you need to be 10, so they'll be paired with a parent or family member, but those are some unique experiences. So again, plenty more, but just a quick snapshot. So in Iceland, you don't get five-star hotels. They had one right now called the Retreat, which I'll talk about, and they were building one in Reykjavik, and that was the Edition Hotel. That got delayed slightly with everything happening, but I believe it's set to open quite soon. So, you know, they're very slowly building up some five stars. But what they're really, really good at are the unique experiences, the unique hotels. So Hotel Husafell is in Western Iceland. It's, none of these are in Reykjavik, by the way, but Hotel Husafell is near Langjökull Glacier. And their position is in somewhat of a valley. So they're quite protected from the elements. And so the northern lights actually, it's quite common to see the northern lights from there. What's really great is being in the countryside, there's a very minimal light pollution. So what that means is if the northern lights are out, you're more than likely going to see them and right from your hotel. So you don't have to even be on a tour. And this hotel is part of National Geographic's Unique Lodges of the World. The Retreat Spa at the Blue Lagoon is fairly new within the last few years, and it is right at the Blue Lagoon. So it's the only five-star at the moment. Won't be for long, but it is a very much a luxury stay. 62 rooms. You get the most exclusive access to the Blue Lagoon. So you're going to have your own private lagoon area. The Blue Lagoon is very touristy. They do it very well though. So there's timed entrances at the Blue Lagoon and it is very, very big. So even though it's very touristy, if you're in the main lagoon area, you typically don't feel like you're in a crowd, which is nice, especially now. But with the Retreat, it's completely isolated. So you're in the Blue Lagoon, but in a completely different part of it. So part of the experience of that is having that exclusive access that nobody else gets to. And my personal favorite is Depler Farm, which is in that picture. And Depler Farm it's just an experience. It's the property that is in the Troll Peninsula, which is in the very, very north, and near Siglufjordur, actually, that town I told you about. And it's a converted sheep farm. So they've got that turf roof. It's very boutique style. There's only 13 rooms. They don't actually even like selling all 13 rooms because they want to keep it very, very intimate. It's an all-inclusive style. So unlike a lot of hotels where you just pay for the hotel room itself, they they've done it in such a way where you pay for your whole stay and all the activities and the food. So, once you're there, unless there's an activity that is not included, like heli skiing, the helicopter, everything's included. And some of those things are Todd buggies, yoga. They have float therapy, hiking, horseback riding. There's workout rooms for anyone who likes to work out on vacation. It's not me, but there really is something for everybody, and it's very much a relaxing stay, located in the countryside. Okay, so that's Iceland. Now, outside of Iceland, we do actually offer over 90 countries, and we've recently launched North America right now, which we know, we really want to try to stay close to home at the moment. So, Iceland is one of the many destinations we do offer, and what we specialize in, but we do currently have a promotion, which is quite great, I think. Demand for travel in 2021 is getting higher because everything got pushed to next year. So we're honoring our 2020 pricing, which is essentially a savings of up to 10%. They're not selling out all their hotel rooms for social distancing, so those hotel rooms are tending to be a little bit pricier. And then we are offering the ability to postpone your trip up until 7 days before, with the full amount moving towards that. So that's just a quick blurb on KT. But
hey, Jessica, sorry. Oh, I love that picture. Sorry, it's Michelle. I just wanted to add a little bit to that book with confidence. And I'm Michelle Keeley. I'm the outside salesperson. But with our book with confidence, we did just add. I know everyone's looking for travel for 2021, but we have opened it for 2020 as well. So if you are interested or starting to think about traveling perhaps in the fall, we see Alaska trending really well right now. We are offering the book with confidence right now for any travel in 2020 and 2021, where we will, if there's a triple delay or change, 100% will go to a future travel as well. So that just was announced, Jessica. I don't know if you had gotten the update. And then we do have our COVID readiness. I don't know, Jessica, if you want to talk a little bit about that. But we've always had our high standards, but just rest assured we're protected. Our staff is up to the standards. Sanitized vehicles, social distancing. We vetted the hotels. So we're COVID ready in all countries. We do cover over 100 countries worldwide. We started in the early this year in the US, and Alaska, like I said, is trending. We're doing a lot of national parks. In addition to that, we're going to be coming out with our resorts, which is in the Caribbean, and we launched our yachts as well. So if you're interested and maybe you haven't experienced it yet, whether you want to go in the Caribbean or in Europe or even Asia, any parts of the world, we do private charter yachts. So just keep that in mind too. Sorry, Jessica, I didn't want to steal the show, but sales, I always have to get a little bit out there. So.
No, that's great. And you're right on, because I didn't mention that, and you're right. So we are Safe Travel certified, which at this point we all know is very, very important. And how we can keep everybody safe on their trips, and all of our local offices, trainings, everything. We're kept up to date with all of that, and it's very exciting to move forward and know that that's something that is not just implemented, but practiced. So thank you, Michelle, for bringing that up. But that's it on my end. But I know that if anybody has any questions, would love to offer some answers.
All right, I don't see any questions in the chat box. So if anyone does come up with any questions later and would like to ask them of Jessica or from Michelle, then just please feel free to reach out to me at my email or phone, and I will get back to you with the answer to all your questions.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. We appreciate
Thank you. What a great ending to our series.
Yeah, Iceland. Iceland's so ready to welcome everybody. They're so excited. So hopefully soon.
I'm ready to go.
Me too. That presentation makes me want to go.
I want to go, and I've been too many times. I need to go somewhere else, but I need to go back to Iceland.
Well, great. Well, you guys take care, and we'll be in touch.
All
yes,
right.
thank you so much, Jen. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.